If everything was normal, then why did one doctor risk his career just to show me something I was never supposed to see? That question didn't hit me right away. Not when I was sitting in that bright hospital room, legs dangling off the edge of the bed, clutching a paper cup of lukewarm water. Not when the nurse smiled at me like everything was fine. Not even when the doctor looked me straight in the eye and said, "You have absolutely nothing to worry about." But it hit me later. Hard. My name is Amara Nkomo. I'm 32. I've always been the kind of person who double-checks everything. Dates, emails, even stove knobs before leaving the house. I don't ignore problems. I fix them. So when I started feeling constantly tired, like bone-deep exhausted, I knew something wasn't right. At first, it was small, a little dizziness when I stood up too fast, then headaches, then days where I couldn't focus at work no matter how hard I tried. My husband, Daniel, kept telling me to slow down. "You're just stressed," he said. And honestly, I wanted to believe him. So I went to the hospital just to be sure. They ran everything. Blood tests, scans, more tests than I even understood. And then, just like that, it was over. The verdict? Everything looks perfectly normal. Sounds like good news, right? So why didn't it feel like it? Why did the nurse hesitate for just a second too long before handing me my discharge papers? Why did the technician avoid eye contact after my scan? Why did it feel like everyone knew something except me? Before we continue with this video, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for updates. I tried to shake it off, told myself I was overthinking, that maybe Daniel was right. And then, just as I was about to leave, "Amara?" I turned around. It was a doctor I hadn't seen before, younger, nervous. His eyes flicked down the hallway like he was checking if anyone was watching. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" he asked quietly. Something in his voice made my stomach drop. He led me into a small office, closed the door, locked it. Then he reached into a drawer and pulled out a file. "My name is Dr. Tunde, and I need you to look at this." I glanced down. My name was on it. But the numbers inside? They didn't match anything I had just been told. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. Someone was lying. I just didn't know who or why. 2 files, same name, completely different results. So tell me, which one would you believe? I remember staring at the pages in Dr. Tunde's hands, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. My name was printed clearly at the top, my date of birth, my patient ID. Everything matched, except the results. The file I had just been given, the official one, said everything was normal, clean, perfect, like nothing had ever been wrong. But this file? It was the opposite. Strange markers, irregular levels, notes in the margins that didn't sound routine at all. Words like "monitor closely" and "early indicators." My heart started pounding as I scanned the page again, hoping I had misunderstood something. "I don't get it," I said, looking up at him. "Which one is real?" Dr. Tunde didn't answer right away. That scared me more than anything. "I found this by accident," he finally said. "I was reviewing system logs, and this version showed up briefly, then disappeared. It was replaced." "Replaced?" I repeated. He nodded. "The timestamps don't lie. This file came first. The normal one came later." Let that sink in for a second. Someone didn't just make a mistake. They changed my results. I felt a chill run through me. Why would anyone do that? "I don't know," he admitted, "but I know this. This isn't protocol, and I shouldn't even be showing you this." That's when it hit me. He was risking something. His job, his reputation, maybe more. So now I had a choice. Trust the system or trust the one person breaking the rules to tell me the truth. And honestly, that's not a fair choice to make. I started replaying everything in my head. Dr. Bello brushing off my concerns, the nurse's hesitation, the technician avoiding my eyes. All those tiny moments I almost ignored, Now they felt intentional. What do I do? I asked quietly. Dr. Tunde leaned closer, lowering his voice. You need to request your full medical file, officially. Don't mention this, just ask. And then, if they only give you the clean version, he paused, his expression tightening, then you'll know this wasn't an accident. So, I did exactly that. I walked back out into the hallway, trying to act normal, even though my chest felt like it was about to explode. I approached the front desk, forced a polite smile, and asked for a complete copy of my records. The receptionist didn't hesitate. She smiled back, typed something into her computer, and handed me a sealed envelope. Here you go, she said. Simple, easy, normal. I stepped aside, my hands slightly shaking as I opened it. One file, one set of results, clean, perfect, normal. I flipped through it again and again. But the other file? It was gone, completely erased, like it had never existed. So now the question wasn't if something was wrong, it was this: who made it disappear, and what were they trying to hide? So now I knew for sure someone didn't want me to see the truth. But the real question was, how far were they willing to go to keep it hidden? I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those numbers, the abnormal ones, the ones that didn't match. My mind kept replaying Dr. Tunde's words over and over. It was replaced. Replaced. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. The next morning, I went straight back to the hospital. I wasn't leaving until I got answers. I asked to see Dr. Bello. When I walked into his office, he greeted me with the same calm, controlled smile, like nothing had changed, like I wasn't carrying a storm inside. "What can I help you with, Amara?" he asked. I sat down slowly, watching his face. "I just want to be sure. Are you certain my results are accurate?" His expression didn't crack, not even a little. "Absolutely. You're in perfect health." Perfect. That word almost made me laugh. "I've still been feeling worse," I pressed. "The fatigue, the dizziness, it's not going away." He leaned back in his chair, folding his hands. "Sometimes the body takes time to recover from stress. You should rest. Don't overthink it." Don't overthink it. That's when I knew. He wasn't going to tell me anything. And somehow, that scared me more than the results themselves. Over the next few hours, I started noticing things I hadn't before. Conversations would stop when I walked past. Nurses who were friendly suddenly became distant. One even avoided answering a simple question about my file. It was subtle, but it was there. And once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. Even Daniel started to get concerned, but not in the way I expected. "Amara, listen to yourself," he said that evening. "You're talking like there's some kind of conspiracy. Maybe you're just stressed." "Stressed doesn't change medical records," I snapped. He went quiet after that, and for the first time, I felt completely alone in this. So I made a decision. If I couldn't trust the hospital, I'd go outside it. I found an independent lab across town. No connections, no shared systems. I paid out of pocket and asked them to run the exact same tests. No one knew. Not Daniel, not the hospital.
Just me. And then I waited. Those 3 days felt like forever. Every symptom felt heavier, every moment stretched. Until finally, the results came in. I opened the email with shaking hands. And the second I saw the numbers, my heart dropped. They matched the hidden file. Exactly. Not the normal one, the other one. Which meant this wasn't confusion. It wasn't error. It was real. Something was wrong with me, and someone had tried to hide it. I went back to Dr. Tunde immediately, barely able to breathe as I showed him the results. He looked at them, then at me, and that's when he said something that made everything even worse. "You're not the only one," he whispered. I froze. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, then pulled up something on his computer. Multiple patient records, similar discrepancies, same pattern. And at the center of all of them, one name kept appearing: Dr. Bello. So now it wasn't just about me. It was bigger, much bigger. But the question was, why would a doctor risk everything to hide something like this? The moment I saw his name linked to every altered file, I knew this wasn't just a mistake. I wasn't just a patient anymore. I was part of something I never agreed to. Have you ever had that feeling where everything suddenly clicks, but instead of relief, it's pure dread? That was me, standing behind Dr. Tunde, staring at his screen, watching file after file scroll past. Different names, different ages, but the same pattern. Original results, abnormal. Replaced results, normal. And every single time, Dr. Bello's authorization. This can't be real, I whispered. Dr. Tunde didn't respond right away. He just pulled up another document, internal records this time, locked files, the kind patients were never meant to see. You need to understand something, he said quietly. This hospital has been running a research program. Research? I repeated, my voice shaking. What does that have to do with me? He turned the screen toward me, and that's when I saw it. A document with clinical language, legal disclaimers, and a title that made my stomach twist. Observational Study, Untreated Early-Stage Conditions. I felt cold all over. They've been tracking patients with early indicators of certain illnesses, watching how the conditions develop over time without intervention. Without intervention. Let that sink in. They aren't treating them? I asked, barely able to get the words out. Not immediately, he said. They delay diagnosis, alter records, keep patients unaware so the data stays pure. My mind couldn't process it fast enough. So you're saying they knew something was wrong with me? He nodded. And they just let it happen? Silence. That was my answer. I stumbled back, gripping the edge of the desk to steady myself. Every symptom I ignored, every time I was told I was fine, every moment I doubted myself. It wasn't in my head. I wasn't overthinking. I was being watched, studied, used, and I never gave permission. Anger hit me next, sharp, burning. How is this even legal? I demanded. It's not, Dr. Tunde said. That's why it's hidden. I started pacing, my thoughts racing. How many people? He didn't know, he admitted, but more than just you. That's when it shifted for me. This wasn't just about my health anymore. This was about everyone they had done this to. What happens if we expose this? I asked. He looked at me carefully. We risk everything. My job, your privacy, maybe more. I stopped pacing, looked at him, then at the screen, then back at him. And what happens if we don't? He didn't answer, because we both already knew. More people would get hurt. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. Then we expose it. Over the next few hours, we gathered everything. Copies of both files, system logs, internal documents, my independent test results. Proof. Solid, undeniable proof. And then I did the one thing I never thought I'd have the courage to do. I walked straight to Dr. Bello's office. No hesitation, no second thoughts. I opened the door without knocking. He looked up surprised, but only for a second. I placed the stack of evidence on his desk. You need to explain this, I said, my voice steady despite everything. He glanced down at the papers, then back up at me, and instead of denying it, he sighed, slowly, reached over,
and locked the door. That's when I realized something chilling. This wasn't going to be a simple explanation. The click of that lock echoed louder than anything else in the room. Not because it was aggressive, but because it was calm, controlled, deliberate. Dr. Bello leaned back in his chair, looking at the stack of evidence in front of him like it was something he had been expecting all along. Then he looked at me and said quietly, "You weren't supposed to find out this way." No denial, no confusion, just confirmation. My chest tightened. "So it's true?" I asked. "You altered my records?" He exhaled slowly, rubbing his temples like this was just an inconvenience. "Not just yours." That was it. That was the moment everything became real. He explained it like it was a project, a program, something clinical and detached. The hospital had been running an unauthorized observational study, tracking patients with early-stage conditions, like me. They selected us based on specific markers. Then they changed our results, delayed diagnosis, watched what happened next. All in the name of research. Research. I felt something snap inside me. "You didn't study us," I said, my voice shaking. "You gambled with our lives." For the first time, his expression shifted, but not to guilt, just irritation. "You'll be treated now. You're still early stage. You'll be fine." Fine? After everything? That's when I realized something important. He didn't think he had done anything wrong. And that's exactly why I walked out of that office and went straight to the authorities. What happened next moved fast. An official investigation was launched within days. My evidence, combined with internal records Dr. Tunde had preserved, was more than enough to expose everything. The research program was shut down immediately. Dr. Bello, suspended, then charged. And he wasn't the only one. Several administrators were implicated. The hospital itself came under heavy scrutiny, its reputation collapsing almost overnight. But the biggest moment? Other patients started coming forward. Different stories, same pattern. I wasn't alone, and that mattered more than anything. As for me, I started proper treatment immediately, and this time I didn't ignore my body. I listened to it, every step of the way. It wasn't easy, physically or emotionally. There were days I was angry, days I was scared, days I couldn't believe how close I came to trusting the wrong system completely. Daniel, he struggled at first, with the guilt, with not believing me sooner, but he stayed. He showed up, and slowly we found our way back to each other. Dr. Tunde? He was investigated too, but in the end he was cleared, protected as a whistleblower, because without him, none of this would have come out. Months later, I stood outside that same hospital. Different staff, new management, the old system gone. I paused for a moment, then kept walking, because I wasn't the same person who walked in there the first time. Stronger, wiser, and most importantly, still here. They told me everything was normal, but if I had believed them, I might not be here to tell this story.